Okay, I think we're live on Facebook. Hi, everybody. This is Andy Harwood from the Vaz+Harwood team, and I'm here with Mark Svihel, who's one of our awesome mortgage professionals. And I love talking to people that we trust in the mortgage business these days because there's so much going on with interest rates going up, and I think a lot of people are worried about kind of what's going on in the mortgage and lending landscape right now in terms of should I buy a house or should I wait or that kind of thing. And one of the things Mark and I were talking about was there's a lot of public perception out there, and I thought this too. Honestly, I used to think this too, that getting a mortgage pre-approval or talking to a lender and kind of going through that process would ding your credit. I totally thought that, and I would bet $1,000 that most people I would talk to, probably even a lot of realtors, would think the same thing too. So Mark has some really, really good clarification on that. And if you want to kind of take it away, Mark, and let us know how it kind of works when let's say I want to buy a house and I go and I talk to you, and we're going to sit down and go through an application process. Um,
Yeah.
how does that all work, and does it mess up my credit?
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate first of all, appreciate you having me on with you today. We talk about this kind of stuff a lot, you and I, and we certainly love to talk about what's going on with the market, where it's going, what's going on with interest rates and why. And
Yeah.
and certainly, to everybody out there, we can do a deeper dive on that. And just as shortly, I mean, obviously inflation, it's inflation. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Rates are what they are. And until that changes, rates are probably going to be where they're at. And so, um,
Mhm.
you know, Annie and I talk a lot about just because rates are higher, which they are today because of inflation, doesn't mean there's not some really good mortgage programs out there. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't sit down with your mortgage lender and your real estate person to say, hey, where is the market today? What's going on? What can I do? And to your question, Andy, yeah, I think it's a fallacy when well, I've been working so hard on my credit, my score is going to go up. And I think Credit Karma is awesome. It's a great tool. It's something that you should use. I recommend it to everybody.
I
It
use it
gives you
my
a great gauge.
I use it myself. I look at
Yeah,
Credit Karma.
yeah, it gets you engaged with your credit. It's awesome, right? It's you should be engaged with your credit. Is my score going up? Is it going down? But the one thing that I think most people don't realize with the Credit Karma, the algorithms are different for a mortgage pull, right? And the mortgage algorithms are smart enough to realize that you're not going to get a mortgage every time you pull a hard pull for a mortgage, right? So,
Hmm.
but Credit Karma's algorithms may not, and again, nobody knows with certainty what those algorithms are, but yeah, might your Credit Karma go down a couple points because you did a mortgage pull? Maybe, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the only credit score that matters is the three major reporting bureaus. And those scores, I come in behind another lender who maybe is shopping all the time. We're on both sides of it, right? And this is
Yeah.
to what we were talking about. Sometimes you get shopped, sometimes somebody shops you. You're on both sides of it. And 100% of the time, if I pull a credit report 2 days, 3 days after another lender, it's the same exact credit score as the previous lender. So the algorithms again are smart enough to realize you're not going to get two mortgages, three mortgages. The difference being if you get a credit card, right? You can get two credit cards. You can get them almost immediately, right? You can get a car loan. So
Hmm.
the general theme is correct, right? If you have a hard pull on your score on your credit, your score will go down. It's true for a credit card, car loans,
Okay.
things like that, right? Because you get those things almost immediately. So those algorithms are smart to say, hey, this guy's applying for a lot of credit. Hey, maybe we should lower his score a little bit. He hasn't shown the ability to handle all these payments. But on a mortgage, again, algorithms smart enough to realize you're not going to get two, three, four mortgages. Not that you're going to shop for four with four different lenders, but sometimes people do.
Hmm.
But 100% of the time, when I've come in behind somebody else, my score is exact same number. Again, might your Credit Karma score go down a little bit? Sure. But again, I'm only guessing, but different algorithms for a Credit Karma score versus the mortgage credit scores. So,
Yeah. Very,
sorry.
very, very interesting, because I hadn't matched that up to like, okay, because you think, okay, if I'm going to apply for a credit card or I'm going to go get like a loan for jet skis or something, you know, um, okay, or if I'm going to go get a mortgage, there's all a hard pull. And so when I think about a hard pull, I think about like, a hard pull means it's going to ding my credit maybe a couple points. But you're saying that, so the algorithms for Equifax and TransUnion and the credit bureaus, they're not going to ding your credit necessarily because they're seeing that it's a mortgage that you're applying for.
Correct.
And so
100%.
you've seen it firsthand because somebody else is shopping, a customer's shopping potentially. They've talked to another lender, then they come talk to you. You would be seeing it as a lowering in their score when you see it when they apply.
100% correct. Yep.
And there just isn't a dip like that.
Yep. I pull the score. They say, hey, lender A, B, C, my score was, 705. I come in behind it. I get the same 705 that lender A had.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And so the other important distinction here is that you may see that when you look at Credit Karma or mint.com or these kind of things where they give you like a free credit assessment. And I love Credit Karma. I use it myself. I think it's a great tool. But when I didn't even realize until I bought a house a couple of years ago that Credit Karma, there isn't like one thing. You don't have a credit score that's just it. All of these things are using an algorithm. And so what Credit Karma and those type of things is trying to do is they're trying to mimic, the ones that the lenders use, and they don't always use exactly the same algorithm. They don't use exactly the same algorithm. In fact, I learned the hard way that Credit Karma will probably show your score to be a little bit higher than the mortgage people will.
Correct.
100%. Here to elaborate.
Yeah. Yep. And we said it. That's a great tool. I totally tell people to use it. It gets you engaged with your credit, but don't use it that it's the Bible on what your score is going to be when the lender pulls it. Use it for what it's good for, to get you engaged. If the Credit Karma score is going up, your mortgage score should be going up as well.
Yeah. So let's say I go in and I apply for a mortgage, and then I look at Credit Karma, and it says your score is 2 points lower, and I click on that to find out why my score went down in Credit Karma, and it says that there was a hard pull on my credit. That may just be reflecting in the Credit Karma tools of the world, but when it actually comes to what I'm approved for or what a lender's going to use, there's really no change.
100%.
I didn't even realize that until you explained it to me, and I've been in real estate for quite a few years. So
100% the reason why, and I know you like to keep these, short, but why I'm always pushing to come in and get pre-approved. Let's talk. I mean, we're doing 2-1 buy downs today. We can talk about that. What does that mean? There's down payment assistance that's available for almost everybody. And does it make sense for everybody? No. But it makes sense for a lot of people, and that's available. We can pull that credit report. We can see where you are today, and maybe today is the time. Maybe it's not, but it costs you zero. And I'll bet anybody, I'll buy anybody lunch if you didn't learn something
That's right.
from that experience, whether it's the market talking to you or somebody on your team, Andy, about where the house values are and where they're going, or if you didn't learn something from myself as far as a 2-1 buy down payment assistance, or hey, what's my payment going to be today in today's market? What is a 2-1 buy down? What is that? You'll learn something, right? And even if now isn't the time to buy, I think knowledge is good, and it's not going to cost you anything. And hopefully we dispel some of that myth about, it's going to ruin my score. I don't want to do anything now because it's going to ruin my score.
See, none of us in this business, nobody I know or work with, and certainly not the Vaz+Harwood team or you, are like, God, I hope there's no like used car salesman that I'm offending, but it's like when I've gone shopping for a car, like they don't want you to leave without driving off the lot. You know what I mean? So that's what we're not doing. Like nobody is trying to like make sure that you get a mortgage or buy a house right now. The question is it the right time for you? And what I don't want is for our customers and potential customers to be sitting out there in fear, worried that they shouldn't be having a conversation with a lender or getting a pre-approval process going. If you're thinking about buying a house in the next few months or even maybe the next 6 months to a year, go in and do it. It's not going to screw up your credit because people think that, and it's just going to give you information. I'll bet you lunch too that you'll just learn something and you'll find out better what your options are and maybe what you would consider doing or not wanting to do. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
He took the words right out of my mouth. That's
Good.
100% right. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Sure.
great. So we can wrap it up here. We're a little over 10 minutes, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I think it's such valuable information. I learn something every time I talk to you, and if I don't cut this off, I could talk to you for an hour, and we'd end up talking about the stock market and interest rates and half a dozen other things. So.
Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate that, and we'll certainly talk again soon, I'm sure, about the market, where it's going, and all of that. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate the time, and please reach out if either one of us or if anybody on Andy's team can help you out.
Yep, I will link to you in the post here. Reach out to us, DM us on social media, give me a call, text, whatever you want to do, and we can help you out if you're thinking about buying. Okay, bye everyone. Thanks, Mark.
Yep, you're welcome.